Either way, all's well that ends well, am I right?
Either way, all's well that ends well, am I right? All's well that ends well, am I right?
Yeah, that was a lie. If you noticed, I said how red defeated Bruno, green defeated Lorelei, and blue defeated Agatha. In other words, we still got one more foe to take down. So now, when I say trust me, we're in for a long one, I mean we're in for a long one. So get your Pokemon ready for the next battle in this series, Yellow versus Lance. Without further ado, let's go on to section 1. Okay, as always, we gotta set the scene. Our first event we need to talk about is going to be in Vermilion City. Yellow's the protagonist of this arc, and she's been on a search for Red after he got destroyed by the Elite Four. However, we don't know that yet, so for now, just know that Red's been missing, and Yellow, along with Red's Pikachu, are trying to find him. As I said, we're in Vermilion City, and Yellow's taking part in a surfing competition in order to win a Pokemon that can surf, being a wild Dragonair, which is an amazing prize, almost too good to be true. So, as the opening ceremony is taking place and the Dragonair is showcasing its abilities, it starts acting weird, creating a whirlpool and drawing in the contestants, including Yellow, who notices a shadowy man above the Dragonair. The commentator says pretty much what I was saying, and we get the reveal of who the man is, which is of course going to be Lance, who with absolutely zero care or chill, practically says shut up and commands the Dragonair to use Hyper Beam on Vermilion City, blowing up a large portion of it. As I always say, this is not Dragon Ball Z. You guys do not need to pull crazy stunts like this. Because Lance, we all know that Hyper Beam definitely took out more than one person. Right off the bat of your appearance, you've already killed people. There's blood on your hands, man. Lance then starts shouting for a person to reveal himself. And I gotta ask, is this guy dumb or dumb? Would it not make sense for you to ask for the person to reveal themselves before you blow up part of the city? Like, you gained nothing by doing that. If the person was in the city, they're definitely not in it anymore. Heck, probably at this point they're Ash. As in, like, literal Ash, not as in Pokemon Ash. Lance realizes the person he's looking for isn't there and starts to leave with the Dragonair. And already, this man Lance has just debuted and committed multiple crimes, and now he's just stealing the Dragonair as if he's owned it for his whole entire life. Catching on to this, Yellow realizes it's go time and begins to chase after Lance on the shoreline with her dojo. Alright, listen, I'm all for defeating villains, but Yellow, I gotta say, I don't think you're cut out for this level. Like, Lance just totaled the whole entire city, whilst your team is currently a Pikachu, Raticate, Caterpie, Doduo, Graveler, and Omniknight. If you fight Lance, I don't even see you coming out of this alive. Either way, realizing chasing along the beachside isn't going to work, Yellow sets up a Pokemon Catapult and sends Pikachu flying towards Dragonair. Lance is literally me in this situation, staring blankly at Pikachu like, what was the plan here? You trying to come along or what? Lance then goes up to Yellow and asks, why are you following me? Yellow replies understandably, asking Lance, why did you just blow up the city and leave? Lance replies saying that he was looking for something, and the buildings were in the way. And I immediately gotta say, this man is just straight up lying. There's no way the buildings were in your way, blocking your view from one specific person. There's no way he didn't know for a fact that person was not there. He just decided to blow up a city for no reason. Yellow calls out Lance again, saying people and Pokemon just died, and Lance surprisingly responds saying, no one should have gotten killed since there was a surfing event on. Meaning that no one should be around the city's borders. This made me start to think, okay, cool, Lance clearly knows what he's doing and he figured this all out. But nah, he switches up immediately, saying maybe 1 or 2 trainers could have been caught in the blast by mistake. And honestly, more than 1 or 2 trainers got caught in that blast. I refuse to believe there was no casualties here. Lance tells Yellow that because she followed him, she'll be joining the list of corpses and binds Yellow with Dragonair. Yellow tells Lance that she thought only Team Rocket used Pokemon for evil, and what he's doing is going too far. Lance, on the other hand, counters saying that what he's doing isn't evil. Instead, he's just freeing Pokemon from living as a pet and suffocating in the city. He continues on saying that Pokemon and humans have different needs, and all trainers apart from the Elite Four must be eliminated. Just hearing this makes me think back to a comment someone said on a previous video, on how the Elite Four is literally just Team Plasma, and damn, they weren't wrong at all. Lance then gets Dragonair to call a storm of thunder and lightning, and if you didn't understand what he meant before, this time he makes sure you know, saying that the goal of the Elite Four is to kill all trainers in the world. Like, bro, this guy has no chill whatsoever. He's going all out genocide. Pikachu finally decides to help out and tries to free Yellow, but Dragonair's Hyper Beam has the ability to change direction, which is honestly OP, but still very cool. Pikachu pretty much gets KO'd, and Lance realizes the scar on Pikachu's ear from its battle with Lorelei and Agatha. Lance puts everything together, revealing that he's already heard of Yellow before from the 2 other Elite Four members. Knowing that Agatha and Lorelei have been chasing after Pikachu, Lance decides to bring it along with him as a nice gesture, although he says he doesn't care because he's Lance. But what does that even mean? With some quick thinking, Yellow tells Pikachu to use Substitute, allowing it to escape from Dragonair and attack Lance in the process. Lance then gets angry and commands Dragonair to use Dragon Rage, knocking both Yellow and Pikachu into the ocean. Yellow then has her anime main character moment, and with the use of Substitute and Pikachu's health, create a surfboard that the two can surf on. Yeah, I'm not even going to try and explain what's happening here. With a blinding Thunderbolt, Lance gets hit directly, and Yellow and Pikachu pose with their back turns to an explosion, which I won't lie is super cool. With everything settling down, Yellow then realizes that Lance managed to get away. She then has a moment with Pikachu and the two continue on their journey. And that concludes section 1. Now on to... Okay, now for a big jump all the way to Cerise Island, where the final battle is beginning to take place, with the heroes fighting against the villains. Yellow is teamed up with Blaine, and the two find themselves deep inside the caves. They try to navigate their ways through the caves, and they hear the sound of someone laughing, saying how all of Kanto's cities are beginning to fall one by one, and soon this will become a place fit for Lance to be happy. We then realize that the one saying all this crap about making Lance happy is the man himself. Knowing that this can get ugly real quick, the GOAT himself, Blaine, decides it's time to step in and actually do some stuff. Just looking at this Pokeball, you already know things are about to get good. Lance wastes no time and sends a Hyper Beam at Blaine, who's protected by the legendary Pokemon Mewtwo. Lance continues his attacks with Blaine being on the defensive. Blaine tells Yellow to watch Lance carefully, making sure he takes notes of his strengths and weaknesses. The fight continues with Blaine managing to get the upper hand, forcing Lance to switch out, calling out his 2 Dragonair, which cause a storm of wind and lightning. Mewtwo counters by creating a tornado of its own, and the battle keeps just getting better and better. Lance swaps out again back to Aerodactyl, who uses its wings as swords, whereas Mewtwo uses a comically large spoon as its weapon. The battle rages on, but the balance begins to waver when the weakness of Blaine and Mewtwo is revealed, which is their need to be close together or else they can't fight. Alright, time for a quick explanation. In the manga, Blaine created Mewtwo with part of his own DNA, and Blaine also took part of Mewtwo's DNA, so the two are connected, and if Blaine gets too far away from Mewtwo, his arm will start going really weird, and Mewtwo's body will start going under a lot of stress. So because they have to fight close together, Blaine starts getting hit by some of the attacks that are meant for Mewtwo. Now that the heroes are fighting with a time limit, Blaine and Yellow come up with a plan of taking down Lance in one blow, by using all of Mewtwo's psychic powers to attack Lance, whilst also disabling his other Pokeballs by breaking their switches, which is something you can actually do in the manga. A crazy plan, but I'm all for it. Winning a battle like this doesn't have to come down to a full 6v6. And with the plan thought up, the two execute it, and it actually works perfectly. Almost too perfectly. Giving in to his wounds, Blaine faints, although Lance seems to be down for the count too, meaning round 2 goes to Yellow, although she got carried by Blaine here. Now we can move on to section 3. Yeah, let's be for real, there was no way Lance was going down that easily. Lance reveals that the Pokeballs he had were actually empty, meaning Mewtwo and Blaine did a Vegeta, going all out for absolutely nothing. Lance then shows off his full team to Yellow, and Yellow's like, yeah, this is looking pretty bad. Although Mewtwo still has the power to fight, Blaine can't, so it's useless in this scenario. In other words, Yellow's gonna have to defeat Lance with her own power, no getting carried here. In response to Lance, Yellow also reveals her full team, and damn, if I'm Yellow, I'd call it here a day. This battle is ending 99% in my defeat. Realizing that his Pokemon have taken quite a bit of damage, Lance takes the opportunity to reveal his first secret weapon. That's right, I said first, so stay tuned. Being the fact that he's a special trainer from the Viridian Forest, with the power to heal Pokemon, just like Yellow is. So if things seemed bad before, now it's 10 times worse. The two make their way to the final battleground, being atop a volcano that's close to erupting. This is a really badass setting for a final fight, but for someone like Yellow who doesn't even have a flying Pokemon, the odds just keep stacking up against her. Just for the sake of being a menace, Lance tells Dragonite to use strength on the volcano, causing it to erupt and leaving hot magma drops everywhere around. With no other option, Yellow begins her attack on Lance, with all of her attacks doing absolutely nothing of course. Lance then asks Yellow if she'll run away shamefully, which Yellow denies, having another anime moment, this time like Gohan, telling Lance that he's wrong and his actions are not only harming the humans, but also the Pokemon that he wants to help as well. She also tells him how she hates fighting and how it makes her sad when her or her opponent's Pokemon get hurt. Having enough of hearing Yellow talk, Lance tells Dragonite to use Fire Blast on Yellow, which sends her towards the lava, only luckily being saved by Pikachu's surfboard. Yeah, I'll never understand that. But if you get it, feel free to explain it in the comments. Lance then actually praises Yellow on how she's one of the only opponents to see all of Dragonaire's powers, being flying, Hyper Beam changing direction, controlling the weather, and lastly combining attacks. But then he takes away all of his praise, saying that his Dragonaires are just a fraction of his power, asking Yellow, what will she do if he uses all of his 5 Pokemon? And I'm not gonna lie, that's a good question. I want to know the answer too. Yellow then remembers what Mewtwo did against Lance earlier with a tornado, and she replicates this by making a whirlpool out of lava, which she catches Lance by surprise with. As the whirlpool of lava starts to suck in Lance, he rages and goes straight towards Yellow, and the two collide with lava spraying everywhere. Somehow, Yellow manages to dodge all of this and get away, but Lance on the other hand is nowhere to be seen, which is actually a crazy way to go out, like going headfirst into lava as a do or die move. Well, since Lance is dead, this round goes to Yellow, this time for real, all skill and trick due to Lance's cockiness. Huh? What's this? We have another section to go? Yup, that's right, fake out again. Of course Lance isn't going out like that. Remember what he said earlier? He is Lance, and we're now gonna know what he means by that. As this man comes out of the lava looking like he's Broly. Nah. Let me get this right. Broly comes out of the lava looking like he's Lance, cause this came first. Can you guys tell that I like Dragon Ball yet? Now Lance means business, with his team surrounding him inside of a bubble. Without even giving Yellow a second to process what's happening, he commands his team to use Bubble Beam, that not only disappears, but breaks Yellow's arm on contact. This is an insane level of power of Bubble Beam, like bro, it broke her arm, it's bubbles. Yellow realizes that the bubbles are becoming invisible due to the bubbles being different primary colors from each other, meaning when they all combine they make white light, which is an insanely smart thing to do, so props to Lance. However, Yellow is also smart, using her Caterpie string to create a webbing around them. Now it's time for a combo attack. With the use of Raticate's whiskers sensing the incoming attacks, Omni-Knight making the string wet so that Pikachu can conduct electricity through it, popping the bubbles before they can reach him, and lastly, Graveler throwing Dojo straight towards Lance with a drill peck. That unfortunately fails to pierce the bubble around Lance. This combo attack was actually very impressive, and it was really cool to see. The reason it failed though is for the sole reason that Yellow's team is just too weak, like straight up too weak to finish the job. Lance then unleashes one more onslaught onto Yellow, but at the last second she's saved thanks to the arrival of Giovanni. Those of you who watched the previous video may remember when I said that Giovanni showed up and made everything worse. Well, that is this moment. Man, this fight never ends. With the arrival of Giovanni, he steps in to take over the battle, and despite my dislike for this man, he does have a very impressive skill set, holding his own against Lance, and with his beam drill, successfully manages to pop the bubble. Lance then drops onto the webbing left by Caterpie and gets stuck. Yellow then gasses up Giovanni a bit, and Giovanni takes the chance to clear up. Although he's a ground type gym leader, his Beedrill is the only exception, as it grew up in their hometown of Vermilion. Giovanni then shows off why he's the leader of a villain organization, and gets Beedrill to hold its stinger up to Lance's neck, whilst he interrogates him, and honestly, that's pretty sick from Giovanni. However, he doesn't stop there, and he tells Lance that the only one who can rule over Kanto is him and his Team Rocket. This character entrance is sick, but it's about to be ruined right now. Giovanni then prepares to take care of Lance for good, but Lance smiles, meaning it's time to reveal his second secret ace in the hole, being the legendary diving Pokemon itself, Lugia. I just wanted to say real quick, it's very cool how the anime had Ho-Oh appear in Gen 1, whilst the manga had Lugia appear in Gen 1. Anyhow, back to the battle. Giovanni's chest starts glowing, revealing his badge, and Lance takes the opportunity to escape with the help of his Dragonite. Lance then takes this chance to reveal his big plan, being that he had already acquired the 7 gym badges and was only in need of one more. As you may remember from part 1, up to this point Giovanni had been missing, meaning no one had access to his badge. Also, to clear up, the Viridian City gym has been destroyed at this point, so his other badges weren't there. So now that Giovanni's appeared, his badge can be taken, meaning that Lance can control any Pokemon now as he has all 8 badges. Lance then reveals the second part of his plan, being that this island that they've been on this entire time was a badge energy amplifier. Once again, a quick recap, the badge energy amplifier is something that takes the energy from the Pokemon badges, and it also allowed the legendary birds to be fused into one. The specifics of what it can and can't do aren't really clear, but just know it's really powerful. In this case, Lance uses it to summon Lugia, albeit in its spirit form, which is pretty much just a weaker form of Lugia. Now for the reason why I hate Giovanni. This guy says to Lance, wow, not a bad plan, then dips. The reason why Lance's plan succeeded in the first place was all thanks to you, so running away now just makes you a massive coward. Even Lance agrees, laughing at Giovanni calling him the same thing. Just a bit ago, Giovanni showed up and took down Lance with ease. I refuse to believe that even with Lugia awakened, he still, at the minimum, could have at least taken down Lance. In fact, he literally had him at pinpoint. He could have ended this man's life right there and there. Lance then decides it's time to finish things up and heads to the skies to meet up with Lugia, whilst of course continuing his speeches about how he can't wait to commit genocide, leaving behind Yellow to deal with his Dragonite, who collapses immediately after he leaves. Yellow realizes, because it's been hidden under lava for so long waiting for Lance's signal, it's become very exhausted. Dragonite then takes to the skies to follow Lance and Yellow grabs onto it, reading into the mind of Dragonite with her powers. Dragonite remains loyal to Lance, saying how he wants to help him complete his dream. Good to know Dragonite will hold it down for the squad. However, in this situation, Dragonite, I think you'd just be better off taking care of Yellow than trying to follow after Lance. Now atop the volcano, Yellow has another main character moment, with a speech of her own. The battle of ideals of whether Pokemon and humans can coexist is a very nice and interesting topic, especially since it's the first of its kind. Lance, who is now fully sick of Yellow, fires another Hyper Beam towards her. That does absolutely nothing, as in its way lies a Metapod, as Yellow's Caterpie has finally evolved. This whole scene goes hard, with Yellow posed behind Metapod as all the smoke fades away. Even Lance is shocked at what he's just seen. However, the hype doesn't end there, as Yellow has yet another main character moment, explaining how all this time she's used the cancel button on the Pokedex to stop her Pokemon from evolving, but now that she's lost the Pokedex, there's nothing holding them back anymore, leading to her entire team evolving. Even Graveler evolves, which is only meant to evolve through trade. And atop all this, Yellow's Metapod evolves once more into a Butterfree, now giving her a Pokemon that can fly. Now I can officially say it's time for the final round. The final battle begins with each side saying their own opinions on how Pokemon and humans can and can't coexist. We then get my favorite double page spread, with each side showing their teams going all out. Something I find funny is how Lance is literally just saying, kill them all, really showing how insane this man is. Yellow's cast that was made out of string starts to unravel, dropping all the way to the bottom. This may sound irrelevant, but trust me, it's important. Yellow then realizes that she won't be able to stop the energy from the badges, but instead they can redirect the energy and stop Lance's plan, which is, if you're confused, to have Lugia gain all the energy from the badge amplifier, and then with this energy it can send out a simple order and every troop back in Kanto will be under its control. And it will be under the control of the Elite Four, and the Elite Four will be under his control. Now to take a quick side tangent from the battle, the three Dex holders, Red, Green and Blue, all meet up at the bottom of the island. It's been 2 whole years since they've seen Red and they didn't even know if he was alive, but their reunion feels so dull because of the situation. Green understandably says that's a good thing Red's safe, Blue just says it looks like you're alive, and Red literally just laughs off saying, haha, yeah, I guess I am. As Blue says, they have no time to wait and they go outside. Once there, they find Blaine along with a string that leads to Yellow. They, hear me out here, transfer their power through the string to Yellow, giving her a crazy power boost. Yellow feels the power and asks the entirety of the Viridian Forest to lend her its power. And you probably already know what reference I'm about to make next. With the power of everyone, Yellow unleashes the Spirit Bomb. Oh, I meant the Mega Volt, a super strong version of Thunderbolt, powered up by everyone's help. Although this makes no sense, I'll forgive them since they gave us a full page spread. But not only that, another double page spread, with Lance getting completely overwhelmed by the attack, and this honestly looks so cool. Lance's life then flashes before his eyes as a massive explosion in the sky takes place. Honestly, he gets what he deserves. A simple case of good intention but completely wrong way of doing it. Like, was mass genocide really the only thing you could think of? Spoiler alert, Lance doesn't die here, and he'll return in the future. But just like with Bruno, you already know how I feel about this type of stuff. Put that man on a death sentence, because this guy was going to plan mass genocide and he was not going to have any mercy on any of us. You just got married? Doesn't matter, you're done for. You just had a child? Doesn't matter, you're done for. You just won the Pokemon League after it's been your childhood dream? Doesn't matter, you are done for. But yeah, let me not go overboard, as I did that last time. With the battle finally over, Giovanni finally comes out of hiding, like the coward he is, and has the nerve to say, yeah, this wasn't a surprise at all. Lance didn't stand a chance against something like that. Giovanni's plan made no sense. He went into hiding, but if Lance succeeded, then he would have just taken over the whole world there and then. But on the chance Giovanni knew what was going to happen, props to him. The other members of Team Rocket appear to Giovanni and say, let's start up Team Rocket again. Giovanni then tells them that this idea would be stupid, as in this situation, they needed the help of the children to defeat the Elite Four. He also states that Megavolt had 10 times the power of Thunderbolt, so none of them have the power to match up to Red or Yellow's attacks right now. And hey, as long as Giovanni knows that he is not that guy, that's what that matters to me. Now then, back to Yellow. As Lance got sent flying, Yellow was the only one there with Lugia, meaning I guess Lugia was under Yellow's control, as she thanks Lugia for helping them with the use of the badge energy amplifier. Yellow starts to fall asleep, but she gets caught by Mr. I'm Him himself, Red, executing his maximum Riz. I am never saying that ever again, but for real though, he got her blushing. And that's where I'm going to leave today's video. There's still a couple pages left of the conclusion, but I think this video is already long enough as is, and the focus was meant to be on the battle anyway. I hope you all enjoyed the super long video, and if you did, let me know by liking the video and also putting a comment down below. And also, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to see more of this type of content, let me know in the comments down below any other battles that you'd like to see, or even just general moments. With all that said and done, take care.